Most people think sugar is a weight problem, or a teeth problem, or maybe a diabetes problem that only matters later in life. But what if I told you sugar is also a kidney problem, and it might be one of the most overlooked threats to your long-term health? Here's the scary part. Your kidneys can be under stress for years, silently taking damage while you feel totally fine. No pain, no warning, no clear symptom that screams, hey, something's wrong. And yet, inside your body, your kidneys may be working overtime like exhausted security guards, trying to keep your blood clean while sugar keeps throwing gasoline on the fire. Now imagine this. What if you removed added sugar for 30 days? Not forever, not for the rest of your life, just 30 days. What changes inside your kidneys? What begins to heal? And what might happen that surprises you, even in the first few days? Because once you understand what sugar does to your kidneys, you may never look at dessert the same way again. Let's break it down. The science, the timeline, and what really happens inside your body when sugar disappears for a month. Your kidneys, the quiet heroes you never think about. Your kidneys are incredible. Every day, they filter roughly 150 to 180 liters of blood, removing waste and extra fluid, balancing minerals, controlling blood pressure, and even supporting hormone production. And they do all of this quietly. They don't demand attention. They don't make noise. They don't send warning signals when they're stressed. That's why kidney disease is one of the most dangerous conditions, not because it's fast, but because it's silent. By the time many people discover their kidneys are struggling, they've already lost a large chunk of function. And here's something even more unsettling. Kidney disease doesn't usually begin with one dramatic event. It begins with small, repeated stress. Day after day, meal after meal, drink after drink. And one of the biggest sources of that repeated stress? Sugar, especially added sugar and sugary drinks. Why sugar is so hard on the kidneys? When you consume a lot of sugar, your body doesn't just store the extra calories. Sugar triggers a chain reaction. Blood sugar rises, insulin rises, inflammation increases, blood pressure can creep up. The kidneys have to filter harder. And over time, kidney tissue begins to wear down. This is not just about diabetes. Even people without diabetes can experience kidney stress from high sugar intake. Researchers have found that sugar, especially from fructose and sugary drinks, can increase kidney strain even in otherwise healthy individuals. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Sugar doesn't damage your kidneys in one single way. It attacks from multiple angles. It affects blood pressure. It affects hydration. It affects uric acid levels. It affects inflammation. It affects blood vessels. It affects the microscopic filters inside your kidneys. So when you quit sugar, your kidneys don't just get a little better. They begin to experience relief across several systems at once. And the changes can begin faster than you think. The first few days without sugar. The shock phase. Let's start at the beginning. The first few days after quitting sugar can feel weird. Some people feel tired. Others get headaches, irritability, cravings, brain fog, mood swings. And that's not because sugar was good for you. It's because sugar can behave like a reward stimulant in the brain, triggering dopamine spikes and reinforcing cravings. Your body and brain have gotten used to it. So when sugar disappears, your system starts adjusting. But while your brain is complaining, something else is quietly celebrating. Your kidneys, because within just a few days, blood glucose levels tend to stabilize, especially if someone was eating a lot of added sugars. And when blood sugar stabilizes, the kidneys don't have to filter as aggressively. That's important because one of the earliest kidney stress responses to high sugar is something called hyperfiltration, the kidney overdrive that wears you down. Hyperfiltration is exactly what it sounds like. Your kidneys filter too much, too fast, too often. It's like revving a car engine all day, every day. Sure, the engine is still running. Sure, everything seems fine. but you're wearing it down. This happens because high blood sugar creates a situation where the kidneys are forced to filter more fluid and more glucose. Your kidney filters, called glomeruli, start working harder than they were designed to. And over time, that pressure damages the structure of the filters. Once those filters weaken, the kidneys start leaking substances they're supposed to keep, like protein. That's one of the earliest warning signs of kidney damage, protein in the urine. So what happens when you cut sugar? The kidneys begin to exit overdrive. The pressure decreases. And that gives them something they rarely get in modern life: a break. And breaks are where healing begins. The blood pressure connection. Sugar quietly raises the pressure. Most people think salt is the main villain for high blood pressure. Salt matters, yes. But sugar can be just as dangerous, sometimes worse, because it affects blood pressure through multiple pathways. Here's what sugar can do. Increases insulin, which encourages sodium retention. Activates stress hormones. Increases inflammation. Raises uric acid levels. Damages blood vessel function over time. High blood pressure is one of the strongest risk factors for kidney disease, because the kidneys contain tiny blood vessels that are extremely sensitive to pressure damage. Think of it like this: high blood pressure is like blasting water through a delicate filter with too much force. Eventually, that filter tears. When you quit sugar for a few weeks, many people see blood pressure improve, especially if their sugar intake was high. And even a small drop in blood pressure can reduce stress on the kidneys dramatically. But the blood pressure story isn't the only major shift, because sugar also changes your kidneys in another way that most people never think about. Uric acid, the hidden link between sugar and kidney damage. Let's talk about fructose. Fructose is a type of sugar found in fruit, but the real problem is added fructose, especially from sweetened drinks and processed foods. Your body processes fructose differently than glucose. When you consume a lot of fructose, it can increase uric acid production. And high uric acid isn't just about gout. High uric acid can also increase blood pressure, promote inflammation, reduce nitric oxide, which helps blood vessels relax, stress the kidneys, increase the risk of kidney stones. So if you quit sugar, especially sugary drinks, uric acid levels can begin to come down. This is one of the reasons people often report less swelling, less inflammation, and even fewer joint issues after cutting sugar. But the biggest benefit might be what happens inside the kidney filters themselves. Because when the sugar load drops, the kidneys don't just rest. They begin to recover. Week 1 to week 2, the repair crew starts working. Your kidneys are not helpless. They're resilient. They can repair minor damage, but they can't repair damage if the attack never stops. If your kidneys are constantly dealing with high blood sugar, high insulin, high inflammation, high blood pressure, oxidative stress, excess uric acid, then they're stuck in defense mode, not repair mode. When you remove sugar, you reduce these stress signals. That gives the kidneys an opportunity to stabilize. It's like finally turning off the loud alarm inside a building so the maintenance team can walk in and fix what's broken. Some research suggests that reducing sugar intake can reduce markers related to kidney strain and help improve insulin sensitivity, which indirectly supports kidney function. Now, will a month reverse years of damage? Not completely, but it can create a meaningful shift, especially if the person catches it early. And the most exciting part is what happens with inflammation, because chronic inflammation is one of the biggest accelerators of kidney decline. Inflammation, the slow fire that burns kidney tissue. Inflammation isn't always bad. It's part of healing, but chronic inflammation is different. Chronic inflammation is like a slow burning fire that damages tissue over time, even if you don't feel it. High sugar intake contributes to chronic inflammation through increased oxidative stress, formation of AGEs and glycation end products, disruption of gut bacteria, higher triglycerides, increased inflammatory markers like CARP. AGEs are especially important. They form when sugar binds to proteins and fats in your body. These compounds can stiffen tissues, damage blood vessels, and accelerate aging of organs, including the kidneys. When you remove sugar, age production slows down. Inflammatory pressure eases. Oxidative stress decreases. And your kidneys operate in a cleaner, calmer internal environment. This is one of the reasons people report feeling better overall when they reduce sugar, not just physically, but mentally. But wait, there's another major kidney benefit that's more painful, more common, and more immediate than people realize. Kidney stones. Sugar increases your risk. Kidney stones are not rare, and anyone who has experienced them will tell you, the pain can be unforgettable. Most people think kidney stones come from not drinking enough water or eating too much salt. Those are factors, yes, but sugar plays a sneaky role. High sugar intake can increase stone risk because it can. Increase calcium in urine, increase uric acid, worsen dehydration through fluid imbalances, contribute to metabolic changes that encourage stone formation. Sugary drinks are especially linked with higher risk because they're often loaded with fructose. When you cut sugar, especially sugary beverages, you reduce several stone-promoting factors at once. And even if you don't form stones, the reduced strain on your filtration system helps protect kidney tissue long-term. The diabetes-kidney connection. This is where it gets serious. Now let's talk about the most well-known connection. Sugar-insulin resistance type 2 diabetes kidney damage. Diabetes is one of the leading causes of kidney disease worldwide. Why? Because high blood glucose damages the delicate blood vessels in the kidneys, causing scarring and loss of filtration efficiency. Over time, this can lead to diabetic nephropathy, a progressive kidney condition that can eventually require dialysis. And here's the frightening truth. Kidney damage can begin before a person is officially diagnosed with diabetes. Many people live with prediabetes for years without knowing. During that time, blood sugar levels may be elevated enough to strain the kidneys. So when someone quits sugar for 30 days, they're not just lowering cravings, they're reducing the burden that pushes the body toward insulin resistance. In many cases, insulin sensitivity improves. Blood sugar control stabilizes. And that can make a real difference in long-term kidney protection. What changes by day 30? Now this is the part people really want to know. What happens after a full month without added sugar? Here are the most common changes supported by physiology, research trends, and clinical outcomes, especially for someone who previously consumed sugar daily. 1. Reduced kidney filtering stress. Less hyperfiltration. Less pressure on glomeruli. Less wear and tear. 2. Better blood pressure regulation. Not always dramatic, but often noticeable. And even small reductions protect kidney vessels. 3. Lower inflammation signals. Reduced CARP trends. Reduced oxidative stress environment. Reduced age formation. 4. Improved urine markers for some people. Less protein leakage in early stage cases. Better filtration integrity over time. 5. Lower uric acid pressure, which supports both kidneys and cardiovascular health. 6. Lower risk momentum. Even if nothing feels different, you reduce the progression risk pathway that leads to chronic kidney disease. Now here's the key point. These benefits don't just exist for the month you quit, they compound. Because when you remove a chronic stressor, your body doesn't just survive, it starts rebuilding. But I feel fine. The most dangerous sentence. The biggest threat to kidney health is not pain, it's silence. People assume that if they feel okay, their kidneys must be okay. But kidneys can lose a large portion of function before symptoms show up. That's why prevention matters so much. Quitting sugar for 30 days is not just a detox trend. It's a test, a reset, a chance to see how your body responds when a major metabolic stressor is removed. And what many people discover is this: they didn't realize how inflamed, tired, or dependent they felt until sugar was gone. The real takeaway: your kidneys don't need perfection. They need relief. This isn't about living like a monk. Your kidneys aren't demanding that you never eat something sweet again, but they do need relief from constant overload. Because when sugar becomes daily, the damage becomes gradual, and the consequences become real. So if you want a simple, powerful, kidney-friendly challenge, try 30 days without added sugar. Not because it's a magic cure, but because it's one of the fastest ways to reduce kidney overwork, inflammation, blood pressure strain, insulin stress, uric acid load, and it gives your body what it rarely gets in the modern world: a break long enough to start healing. Your kidneys are working for you every second of your life. They clean your blood while you sleep. They balance your minerals while you work. They regulate pressure while you eat. And they don't complain. They just keep going until they can't. So instead of waiting for a wake-up call you may not get until it's late, consider this: moderation protects, reduction restores, consistency heals. And sometimes, the biggest upgrade to your health doesn't come from adding something new. It comes from removing what was quietly draining you the whole time.